Hello, my name is Mr. Heldman. I'm the Math Department Chair here at Downers Grove North High School. We're making this video so that we can commonly share some information about course options for juniors that are currently in Pre-Calculus 300. With me today is Mrs. Blattner, who is a current teacher of AP Calculus AB, and Mrs. Purcell, who currently teaches AP Statistics. Thank you guys for being with me and sharing a few minutes of your time. First question I would have for each of you is specific to your course. Ms. Purcell, why should a student take statistics, and what type of student has found this course most beneficial?
Students who are going into a STEM field in particular will find it beneficial because this course will prep them for a most likely calculus-based statistics course that they have to take for their major. The content I cover is covered much more quickly in a calculus-based course, so I have a lot of time to explain it in detail, and students have come back and said that it's very helpful because what they learn with me is 3 or 4 weeks of the semester-long course that they take that's calculus-based. Business students have come back and said it's very helpful, but more majors in general require statistics than require calculus, so regardless of what you're going to do, you're probably going to end up taking it either in undergraduate or graduate. So it's good to start and get a good base for it.
Okay. And Ms. Blattner, what would you say in terms of the type of student that should take calculus and has found it most beneficial?
I would agree that it would also be a student who is interested in the STEM field. It would be somebody who enjoys math and wants to do more of the type of math that they've been studying in high school so far. But it is definitely somebody who knows that their major in college is going to require calculus or a similar level of algebra so that they can be successful when they get to college.
Okay, great. You've hinted at maybe some similarities or differences, but if you could go into a little bit more detail, we'll start with statistics. What specifically makes that course similar or different from the previous courses that they've taken up through pre-calculus?
It's mostly different. We do a little bit of algebraic manipulation, but the hardest thing we manipulate are logs, which you cover in Math 3 and then again in pre-calc. It's really different in that there's a lot of writing to support your decision. You're asked to perform a test and based on the result of that, say why you would favor or not favor a decision. So there's a lot more writing. There's writing in the unit where we design experiments and design surveys. So it's not as mathy as a traditional math course. And some students who like the calculus struggle with my class because there's not a lot of formulas and they're used to that and they like to manipulate stuff. So that's not what it is.
Okay. Is there any connection between like the statistics or probability that they've done in Math 1 through Math 3 and then the content of your course?
Yes, there's the probability that we do in Math 2, we do much more in-depth probability for a couple of chapters. So what they will need to remember the Math 2 probability. And then from what I understand with Math 3, they just start talking about surveys and experiments, so that is covered in more depth. And then of course, displaying data, which is a Math 1 task, and prior, that'll come up as well. Great. So there's a connection to all three.
Okay. Mrs. Blattner, in terms of calculus, similarities and differences to the courses that they've had up to that point?
So calculus is definitely an algebra-based course. So all of the stuff that we have done in Math 1, 2, 3, and pre-calc is a precursor to what they need to have for calculus. We take all of the skills from all of those classes and we apply them together to problems. What's a little bit different from previous math classes, they usually focused on one concept and they learned a way to do it, and that was how they did the problems in that chapter. In calculus, it's more, here's our end goal. You can use any of your math skills from any of your previous math classes to get there as long as your math is solid and sound. So it's building on putting together all of the stuff that they've seen over the last 4 math classes.
Okay, great. When it comes to being successful in statistics, are there any key skills or pieces of knowledge that students need most that you have found leads to the greatest degree of success in the course?
Being able to juggle your schedule, whatever it is you choose to take. Being able to write.
Okay.
And then there's some math, but it's more bringing into each problem or each unit background knowledge. You know, we have problems that are about medicine, we have problems that are about business, we have problems that are about surveys of any type. So being aware of your surroundings and what is happening is also very helpful.
Okay. And for calculus, you mentioned that it's definitely an algebraic-based course. Are there any particular parts of algebra that are key for getting kids off on the right foot in that course?
Factoring and solving equations is big. And then definitely knowing your unit circle and your trig skills that you learned in Math 3 and in pre-calc. Just being willing to think outside the box and put together concepts that you've learned from previous math classes is what's going to be important.
Okay. I know every year I get a couple of questions about students potentially wanting to take both of these courses because they see benefits or interest in both areas. It's certainly possible, but I know it can be very challenging as well too. Do either of you have any advice for kids in terms of they might be considering this in their overall schedule and just life in general in terms of what key questions to consider before making that decision?
I think that what Ms. Purcell said before was really important, making sure that you can balance what's going on in your life. Calculus does have a lot of work that needs to be done outside of class, either homework or studying or getting together with friends to work on the concepts. So realizing that calculus is going to take a lot of time, would adding on another math class be a possibility, or not knowing what's going on in your life?
And I would say the same thing if you're, depending on what year you are in pre-calc, if you're a sophomore or a junior or a senior, obviously not the seniors, but it depends when can you double up. I wouldn't take 2 science classes and 2 math classes at the same time, regardless what year you are. That's a lot of that type of thinking.
Analytic thinking
in any given day, unless that's your passion and you love that and you can't get enough of it, but most people don't have that passion at this point in their life. I wouldn't take, no lunch and all of those classes as well. I would make sure that you have time in your day to have a break, to, talk with friends, to relax, to balance your life.
Right. That would be true of an overall schedule of AP and honors courses,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
I mean, you reach a point where there's not time during the day and you're going to be busy outside of school.
Right.
This is going to catch up on you no matter which course it is, right?
And to your point about the workload, I think my workload is a little easier to spread out. The way I design my class, I give you a lot of information and we have a lot of days to work on stuff, is generally what I do, versus I've watched her teach. There's stuff every day. So if you had my class, you would be able to juggle where you're going to get your work done, versus that class, I don't think you can put stuff off as you could in my class.
That fair assessment as well. Okay, all right. Is there any other things that you would invite kids to consider or wish that they knew before they signed up for the course as part of the recommendation and registration process?
Based on what Ms. Purcell just said, I would definitely just reiterate that having time within your day for a break, but as well as an opportunity to seek help for calculus, would be key. Students utilize the Math Resource Center all the time. They work together and make study groups, and if you don't have a study hall or a lunch, making the time to get help for calculus if you need it becomes really, really difficult.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And if students have more questions about either of these courses, who can they see and where?
For stats, I'm in room 301. Ms. Passarelli is in room 316, and Mr. McDonald is in 119.
Okay.
For calculus, I am in room 310. Ms. Adamczyk is in room 302. And then Mr. Naus and Mrs. McDonald would also be good resources as well.
Okay. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope that students find it helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.